Tina from Tinaheals.com, and today I will be talking very briefly about Jupiter in Sagittarius. If you want to know in greater detail and if you want to read about my musings on the subject, then please visit my blog. I will try to leave a link in the comment section, but let's get straight to this aspect that's happening after 12 years. Okay, the last time this happened was 2006 and to 2007. All right, approximately 12 months, 12, 13 months. So go back in time and think of what had happened in your life back then, because chances are that with the Jupiter cycle, such things will recur. The same motifs will come back. If you've started something back then, you may see some culmination now. Expansion is the key word with Jupiter in Sagittarius. Now, why do I say that? It's because Jupiter is a planet that is all about expansion. It's known as the great benefic, and no matter what energy it touches, it expands. So it's a very powerful planet that is the largest structure in the solar system. It's almost, if you put all the other planets and add it 2.5 times, that's the size of Jupiter. And we can still on Earth in 3D discern the shadow of Jupiter. Okay, so you can understand how powerful this energy is and how it works in our lives. In the Vedic system, Jupiter is known as Brihaspati, or the teacher of all the gods. And correctly so, because Jupiter is a teacher, and Jupiter in Sagittarius is the very teacher, is the master in some cases. Now, Jupiter is Sagittarius is a sign that Jupiter rules. Okay. Now, with Pisces in traditional astrology in the tropical system, but let's take to Sagittarius and its rulership by Jupiter. Now, Sagittarius in the esoteric hierarchy is ruled by, in the soul level, by Earth, and in the hierarchical level by Mars. Therefore, Mars in Sagittarius is such a superb placement, is the ultimate placement of the athletes, if you ask me. So what do we see with Jupiter and Sagittarius? Expansion. Sagittarius is the ninth house. Okay, now nine is very interesting. It's very spiritual. It's completion. So the soul learns spiritual aspiration in Sagittarius. Okay, if you study the goal, the esoteric goal. If you read the book, the textbook Esoteric Astrology by Alice Bailey, then you will come across the different soul karma, soul purpose for all the 12 signs. Now with Sagittarius, and they have a motto. Okay, so the motto of Sagittarius is, I see a goal, I reach that goal, and then I see another. So what does that mean? That means Sagittarius is coming to a point, touching a point, expanding a point, taking it to a higher level, and then moving on to the next goal. So Sagittarius is extremely psychic. And how do we know that? The arrow that is the glyph of Sagittarius is actually symbolic of instinctual awareness or higher awareness and spiritual truths. The key word of Sagittarius is direction. Which direction are we going to take? It's a very ambitious sign, but it's not like Capricorn. Its ambition is to uplift humanity. Okay, it's a mutable sign, so there's a lot of change, a lot of flux. It can get easily restless. There can be anger. It can be very frivolous at times. Sagittarius is honest to a fault. You know, whatever they feel, they say. They don't whitewash, or they don't embellish the truth. Okay, it's how it is. So when Jupiter is also about truth, about justice, about higher truth, about philosophy, about legal systems. So when Jupiter comes into Sagittarius, all these themes get a solid boost. The vibe will be very optimistic because Jupiter is all about optimism, and Sagittarius is definitely about optimism, adventure. Remember that I see a goal, solve that goal, move on to the other goal. So there's always this tremendous restless energy that we will feel. So that energy needs to be handled, channeled, and grounded. Okay, so you can consult me for that, but let's get to what else is Sag all about. It's about higher truth, publishing. It's about foreign lands and foreign travel. So when I say this foreign word, it reminds me of Lana Del Rey's line that in Salvatore, dying by the hands of a foreign man, happily. I'm not a singer, so don't crucify me on that. But think about it, dying by the hands of a foreign man, happily. So this is the Jupiter in Sagittarius ethos, but make sure that it's not just all gas and no show, because that could happen with Jupiter. It's a gaseous planet after all. It's a gas giant. So be practical about what you want, and be exuberant, of course. Be optimistic, be positive, talk about justice, talk about bringing justice to everyone, talk about higher education. People will definitely be looking into that, and education will be easily available to many more people. Many more people will be traveling. Jupiter is a guru, so many more people will discover their spiritual path. But don't let it become bigoted, because that is the shadow side of Sagittarius. Be careful of that. But other than that, Jupiter in Sagittarius is about growth, expansion, spiritual truths, higher thinking, higher bonding, fiery discussions. Sag is a fire sign, so male, immutable, and its ruler, as I told you, is Jupiter in the exoteric level, Earth in the soul level, and Mars in the hierarchical level. So this is a sign where mm, after we have climbed the proverbial mountain in Capricorn, we are ready for a new truth. We are ready for a spiritual initiation. And I think that is what Jupiter in Sag is all about, this spiritual initiation that many of us are going to face. Wherever this touches you, you are going to expand, of course, and grow. Like if it's your first house, it's your ascendant, then you'll grow in who you are, your appearance, your identity, your sense of self. If it's your second house, it's in your income and resources department, then you'll grow there. If it's in your third house, communication, that's where you're going to grow. So on and so forth. Fourth house, family, kids, you can give birth, you can buy a new house. Fifth is really grow in your creative business. If you are an artist, really grow in that field. Sixth, your every day gets expanded, things change, you evolve. Your physical body also is the sixth house. So all those things get uplifted. Seventh house is relationships, so that's where you see the expansion. So on and so forth. Now, while Jupiter will be in Sag all these 13 months, we've got only one aspect, and it's a hard aspect. It's what we call a square. 90 degrees position, and in this square the planets are not communicating. Their energies are at cross purposes. They don't flow smoothly. Okay, so what is the square? How is the square happening? It's happening between Jupiter in Sag and Neptune in Pisces. Okay, and Neptune is all about um, spirituality, the higher octave of Venus, of course, but in its shadow it is about lying, deceit, manipulation, addiction, hypersensitivity, refusing to face the situation. So make sure that whatever your goals are, whatever you are thinking is grounded, no matter how optimistic it is. Of course, go big or go home, definitely, but make sure that the whole idea, you've done your homework and everything is grounded, because I don't think then Neptune can pose a problem for you. Okay, tune into the higher vibes of Neptune. Look at everything becoming one, less of borders, less of divisive mentality, more coming together. And then you can use squares are also very powerful for transformation. So let no one take that away from us. While Jupiter is in Sag and has this tremendous, and it's making the square to Neptune, and Neptune with its higher vibes can transmute our lives. So let's not lose that. So the three squares happen exactly on January the 13th, June 16th, and September 21st. Okay, so these 3 days in 2019 is when Jupiter applies an exact square to Neptune. So be mindful of that. Now, Jupiter retrogrades from April to August 11th. Okay, so this is, I'm going to talk in detail about that, of course. So, when Jupiter goes retrograde, all this expansion suddenly stops. It's not constrictive like Saturn, but all this expansion stops, and we are asked to internally look at where all this progress is leading us. Okay, so use this time of Jupiter and Sagittarius to develop your spiritual awareness. Remember the glyph of Sagittarius, it was a centaur first, whereby we associate Sagittarius to Chiron. Then it became the archer, and now it's just the arrow. So the arrow is of the fire of your soul to find direction, spiritual direction, to realize why we are here and what this hologram is trying to show us. Consciousness creates reality, you know. So understand that. Think of higher truths. Think of higher philosophies. Think of travel. I mean, what's more exciting than traveling with Jupiter and Sagittarius? And if you are having your Jupiter return, then this is a time like none other. I don't need to tell you that. Just go back in your mind, 2006, 2007, what happened in 2006 to 2007, or 94 to 95. Just go back and you will piece the whole story together. So I hope you liked that video. It was a brief discussion of Jupiter and Sagittarius. Check out my whole body of work and check out my blogs and my website www.tinaheals.com. Thank you so much. See you soon.